Hey everyone, so today I wanted to do a video and it's kind of like a video about a couple different topics. So right now I am in my first week of my fall one semester, which is my another diagnosing class. So obviously I'm using the DSM-5 and really trying to understand the symptoms and causes of mental illnesses and the behaviors associated with it. So, my primary priority is to make sure that when I enter into this field, that I am really becoming an advocate for my own community, because there is some type of stigma that's associated with African Americans seeking help for mental health, and yet we make up 13% of the population, which is about 6.9 million people. And out of those 6.9 million people, 20% of African American males, especially, are most likely suffering from severe mental illnesses. Yet, we are the least likely to actually report that we are having these illnesses. And there's a couple reasons why. First, there's a stigma in the African American community, and I know with some other minority communities, of seeking help from anybody that is outside of the family, outside of if you're a religious person, which I am not. If you're out in your community, you're definitely going to seek people that are going to understand you, but somehow seeking help outside of your community is a stigma. Most people do not want to associate themselves with a mental illness because there's a stigma of, oh, you're crazy, oh, you just weren't raised right. Now, these are all things that I heard growing up, and many other African American people can testify to this. If you're not an African American, you will not be aware of this, so I'm not interested in your opinion in this whatsoever on this video. So most people that are in my community, they associate mental illnesses with something that is more so for white people, which couldn't be further from the truth. To be honest, I think especially in this day and age, and also there is PTSD and transgenerational depression, which basically means that you can pass on anything from one generation to the next. So take, for instance, there was one class that I took in this program that I'm doing, and it basically said, say you had an ancestor that starved all their life, like they were extremely impoverished and they starved. Chances are that starvation will somehow become attached to their genetic makeup of their offspring. And usually what will occur, not necessarily right away, but maybe a few generations down the road, that same DNA tracker is inputted like a blueprint onto their genetic makeup. So what that means is that same person that comes from their ancestor that was completely impoverished and on a constant level of starvation, you might have a person that's an overeater. Why? Because genetically their body is saying you are always starving. So for them, you might have people that are overeaters, and it's because their bodies are genetically inclined to believe they are constantly in a state of hunger. Now, there is also, and that's not to negate the biological, scientific aspect of it as well, where you have leptin, which is, I believe it's leptin, where it actually tells your body when it is full. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about transgenerational depression, transgenerational things that travel down genetically, biologically from one set of people down to the next family member, and so on and so forth. So given that this is a completely true basis for many people suffering from multiple things in their life currently today in 2017, about to be 2018, that leads me to African Americans. There is the constant shutdown of, you just get over slavery and whatever. This isn't even about slavery. This isn't even about anything like that. This is really a video about how your ancestry has really impacted your mindset. You don't even know it, but it truly has. So when you're sitting there and you are in a depressive state, sometimes it might not even be from something that has happened in your actual lifetime. It could be genetically you're inclined to be depressed, which if you look at the history of severe depressive people, I can pretty much guarantee you're going to find either an immediate family member or a grandparent or a great grandparent that suffered from severe depression or anxiety. These are things that pass down. So, with that being said, today I ran into a story which was quite disturbing, and I've run into very many stories that I do not address on this channel, but I figured that, you know what, why not? At first I was like, I'm not going to address these things because, I'm in this program and I have to make sure that my image looks a certain way because I'm trying to get my licensure. Yeah, I get all that, but at the end of the day, this is about doing what's right, and being a counselor is all about advocacy, and advocacy needs to start within your own community. So whether you are Asian, whether you're white, whether you're Hispanic, whatever your community is, it starts at home. You need to make sure that you're taking care of your community and working from that point and branching out. We must start small to work big. So that leads me to a story that I saw that was quite disturbing. And I don't know if you guys have actually seen this story floating around Facebook, or I saw it on Instagram first thing this morning because unfortunately most of us, we don't have newspapers that we check, and I definitely do not turn on the news. So my news essentially is my social media accounts, because I just like to pick and choose when I want to be bombarded by negativity, and usually the news is completely filled with negativity and propaganda, which I'm not interested in. So I don't know if you guys have actually seen this story. So it says, White University of Hartford student Brianna Brochure arrested after slowly poisoning her black roommate. It says, Brochure boasted about poisoning her Jamaican Barbie. Brianna Brochure, 18, of Harrowinton, Connecticut, was arrested by the West Hartford Police Department on October 28th and charged with second-degree breach of peace and third-degree criminal mischief, both misdemeanors. When we get to what she did, the tables have been turned. They definitely would not be misdemeanors. She is a white student, clearly, who bragged about harassing her black roommate by rubbing used tampons on her bag, pouring moldy clam dip in her lotion. Like, honestly, who carries around clam dip? Like, who even eats clam dip? Like, what is that? Premeditated harassment and hate crime. And putting her toothbrush inside of her rectum. Isn't she just an upstanding citizen of the world? Local police confirmed with the tab that they have arrested Brochure, a freshman at the University of Hartford. Brochure was caught posting to Instagram how she finally got rid of her roommate, who she referred to as Jamaican Barbie. First of all, I don't even believe this girl's from Jamaica, but because apparently having black skin, you must be from Jamaica, Ethiopia, Africa, Ghana, pretty much anywhere but America. I mean, never mind that black people built this country. Apparently, it's just not our country. Even building it, it still doesn't make it our country. Moving forward. Chanel Jazzy, as she goes by, Rowe, the freshman roommate of Brochure, went on Facebook Live to describe her horrific details. Jazzy posted a heartfelt message to her Instagram. As a young African-American woman, I don't want to become another statistic when it comes to college incidents, crimes, and racial cases. Justice needs to be done. Brochure is scheduled to appear at Hartford Community Court on November 1st for her arraignment. She is currently free on a $1,000 bail. Slap on the wrist. I'm sure it'll turn into another case of we just don't want to ruin her future by her just, going too far with a joke. A group of students plan to hold a Justice for Jazzy meeting on Wednesday. The University of Hartford has issued this statement. Oh, and today is Wednesday, by the way, November 1st. 2017. The University of Hartford has issued this statement via Twitter to reflect that Brochure is no longer a student after tweeting their first letter announcing that they were taking the allegations seriously. Now let's understand this. This is code for after it went viral on social media, because the young lady, Jazzy, has already expressed how the college was doing nothing until she did a Facebook Live post that ended up going viral, and it has been spiraling on the media circuit for hours and now going on a day or two. So it wasn't like they just did it be out of the goodness of their hearts. And, you know, for all those that would say, well, she just needed to be patient. I mean, like, come on, history tells us that for people that are brown skinned that even dare mention anything against a white person, they're definitely not going to get the same treatment if it was in reverse. And for the people that say that's not true, not interested in your responses, you will be blocked, because there's always trolls. This isn't the video for you. So this brings me to my point. These things are happening to our community, to the people in our community. Do you not think that this young lady is going to suffer from, and currently is suffering from, anxiety, depression, anger, upset, sadness, every emotion that you can possibly experience? Who is she going to talk to? You know, you have some people that are like, oh, go to the church, pray about it. Okay, but praying about it, for some Black people, they believe in that. I don't believe in that. I really think that you need to take action. And I think that a lot of us that are saying, you know, not me, pray about it and, you know, God will take care of it. Okay, all this praying, and yet these things are still happening. So let's just wake up and realize that that's a slave religion. Not sorry at all, because that was a religion that was forced upon Africans when we first were brought over here. That is not a religion of our people. That was never a religion of our people. And when Christianity was and still is in Africa, it was not taught in the form in which it was taught to our ancestors who were slaves. We will never forget. We will always remember. And when I have children, they will never forget. They will always remember. And that's not a part of the problem. That is a part of the history. So let's get that clear. This young lady will be forever insecure and non-trusting, which she should have been non-trusting to begin with. Let's be perfectly clear on that. Because how can you trust somebody you don't know? I don't even care if her roommate was Black, Asian, or anything else. I'm not going to trust somebody I don't know. That's why when I was in my undergrad, I stayed home. I was not about to be like having a roommate with somebody I don't even know. Like, even when I stay at hotels, I look all my stuff up. Okay, you want to come clean the room? Great, but you damn sure ain't cleaning the room with my toothbrush and whatever like hatred you have for your job and whatever else you could be doing. Not with my stuff. No, ma'am, not happening. So this young lady and many other young ladies and men that are going through these situations in my community, because once again, that's what I'm speaking on. We need to come together and understand that there should not be a stigma associated with seeking help. When these things happen to us, what happens is we keep it to ourselves, we bottle it up. It becomes anger, and we end up exploding on things that really don't even deserve reactions. Why do you think that most Black women are perceived as being angry? Probably because they've had so many things happen to them that are out of their control, that they did not have any onus on. And instead of reacting in the moment, because they are taught to basically shut your mouth, don't be a statistic, don't come off as an angry woman, these are things that are creating people to have higher blood pressure, strokes, being completely stressed out, and suffering from deep depression. I mean, just like when I was talking about in my other video about suicide awareness, although we are not the highest group of people to suffer from suicide, we are still a portion of that group of people that do commit suicide because of the emotional drain that we receive just because of the color of our skin. I don't care what anybody says. If you get on this video and you want to start talking about black on black crime, let me just tell you this right now. 80% of crime that happens in this country is white on white crime. So don't come on this video thinking that you're going to get any play outside of the block button. I'm not interested. I don't care. I'm not here for it. Go find another channel. This isn't the one. Anyways, so when we are experiencing these things and they are happening to us and we're, this young lady, she, she's very sweet. If you look this up, you'll see that even in her demeanor, she's very sweet and docile and just pretty much, not that she's a completely trusting person, but she definitely, just like most of us, do not go into these situations thinking, oh, I need to be having my guard up because this person probably just hates me for the color of my skin. I'm not saying that's the way you should walk around, because that's walking around with a chip on your shoulder. But should you just be trusting? I wouldn't trust anybody. Honestly, I don't trust anybody. I don't even care what the color of your skin is. I don't trust you. But in the world that we are living in and that our ancestors and my mom and her mom and her mom's mom have lived through, time and time and time and time again, we have been told, we have been shown, we have been given statistics. Why are we not seeking help when these things happen to us? I hope this young lady goes and seeks a counselor, a psychologist, if she's at the point of an extreme breakdown, a psychiatrist. I mean, I cannot even imagine what went through her mind when she first heard of this. I'm sure shock, dismay, disbelief, anything that you could imagine. I mean, like, who really in their right mind would do this? And that's not even to say this devil thing that did this was not in her right mind. I think she got some sick enjoyment out of it, and I don't want this to be dismissed as some little thing, or she had some mental illness or something that's ridiculously repugnant and used constantly as a rhetoric to say that, slap on the wrist, she hardly meant any harm. I mean, like, this young lady could have died. She put her dirty tampons on her backpack and her bedding and put her toothbrush in her butthole. I mean, it's completely repulsive. Our community needs to work together. We need to make sure that we are seeking help from our own counselors, because nobody's going to understand you like another minority. I'm just telling you that right now. Nobody's going to understand you. I'm in the middle of a program right now, and the things that get brought up by minorities to non-minorities, it's like a whole new world is being shown to them. It's like they've closed their eyes to the world that we live in. And that's why so many of them are like, oh, you're just playing the race card, or, oh, you're just making this up. That's easy for you to say because you're not living this. How can you tell somebody that that's not their reality? You can't. If we're all saying these things are happening and you're always trying to negate it and act like it's not real, how is it that we're all making it up? I don't know this girl. She doesn't know me. I don't know who the next person is that's going to suffer from this. It might be me. I am not the type of person that's going to sit back and be like, oh, case by case, it's circumstantial. Oh, let me hear all the evidence. Let me da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, you want to hear all the evidence, but she clearly, this white girl had videos and posts on IG gloating about what she has done to this young lady. And this was her freshman year. I mean, like, can you imagine your freshman year of undergrad? You're all excited. I'm out of high school. I'm out of my house. I'm in the world. I'm going to make it. You're thinking about your future. You're thinking about, where's the next party? Thinking about, oh, I got to study for this test. You're not thinking about the person that you've been forced to live with. Let's keep in mind, these colleges are not cheap, but yet you're being forced to live with people, especially for these people that do not have family in the area and they have chosen to go to a college, which you should not be faulted for, that is outside of their state or even city or anywhere where their family is residing. You cannot be faulted for that. Point blank, period. You should be able to move about freely and not experience this type of bigotry and just out and out hate crime, because that's what it comes down to. This young lady has suffered a hate crime. She had to go and get antibiotics because of the bacteria in her throat from brushing her teeth from the same thing this girl put in her butt. That is repulsive. So, of course, our community, it doesn't always make social media. That's the freaking problem. It doesn't always make social media. A lot of times these things are happening. We're constantly getting dismissed as we're crazy. We're playing the race card. We're just delusional. We want to be victims. Like all these things that basically dismisses the reality. When you dismiss the reality, then you start working in basically Disney World. You want to create your own reality when in fact they're creating the reality. They just don't like when it gets shown back in their faces. So for us, we need to be making sure that we are arming ourselves, coming together as a community, as a collective, and really uplifting one another, making sure that we are getting the help that we need, making sure that we're not a part of the statistics of suicide rates increasing among African Americans, whether young or old, female or male. We need to make sure that we are educating ourselves, not stigmatizing mental illnesses. We cannot dismiss these as, this is just, oh, you'll get over it, or you just have the blues, or we'll pray it away, or, we don't talk about that. That's white people stuff. No, it's not white people stuff. It's not Asian stuff. It's not Hispanic stuff. It is people stuff. You need to make sure that you are seeking help. Just like I said in my last video that I am seeking help from a counselor because I have a lot of things going on in my life. That should not be something that you should feel ashamed about. You should really make sure that you are empowering yourself, even when you feel the lowest, to make sure you're getting out and seeking the help that you need. Even if you don't feel like you need help, sometimes just speaking to somebody and making sure that you are mentally well is important. Because a lot of times I think what happens is we play out so many scenarios in our head and we're constantly replaying things. And you know what that is? We're reliving things and re-depressing ourselves. We're constantly going through our minds and thinking, okay, if I had did this, like this young lady, I'm sure she's like, okay, if I had set up a video, or maybe not been so trusting, or maybe if I just didn't even have a toothbrush out, or, like you start questioning yourself, like it's your fault, like it's your problem, like you're to blame. You're not to blame for when people do nasty things to you. You are not to blame. If you have not done something to another person and they've taken it upon themselves to do something nasty to you, the onus is on them, not on you. I wish more people in my community would seek to get counseling, because really it is so vital for our mental health, because so many of us are walking around depressed, angry, and upset, and it's coming out wrong. We're walking around like we're angry and we're aggressive, and that's not to stereotype anything at all, but a lot of us are walking around and it's not even angry. It's more like we are shielded and closed off, and it comes off cold, even to each other. I mean, when you see another African American female or male, make sure you're saying hello, make sure you're smiling. Don't grimace at them like they've done something to you and, act like they're bothering you or something like that. I mean, that's just ridiculous. We need to stick together. Every community should stick together, and then perhaps there would be some resolution that would evolve from us sticking together that would actually make us come together and actually be one and successful. Mental health is so vital to making sure that you are financially stable, making sure that your family is stable. Stability starts in the mind and in the body and the soul. It really does. So I completely feel horrible for this young lady and anybody else out there that's watching this video that has experienced things too. I've experienced things. I'm sure many other people have experienced maybe not similar things to this, but horrific things. And even if it's minor, or you might perceive it as minor, for somebody else it might be major. So I really hope that this video entices people to seek any type of assistance with a mental health counselor or a psychologist, or even at the point of a psychiatrist if you have been recommended to one, to really take advantage of the help that you can. Your mental health is just you just can't play with it. Stress is the #1 killer, and in the African American community it's extremely high. Blood pressure is extremely high, which is related to stress. Yeah, there's dietary as well, but a lot of it is conducive to stress because a lot of people, when they're stressed, they eat. I'm not one of them. When I'm stressed, like, I really don't even want to eat food, which that's not good either. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe to this video, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.